My name is Mark, and for the past 5 years, I've been doing my best to raise my son Liam on my own. Life hasn't been easy for either of us. When Liam was just 3 years old, a terrible apartment fire took my wife Grace's life and left Liam with burn scars covering almost a third of his body. Those scars, though mostly healed, never stopped reminding us both of that night, of the screams, the smoke, the loss. Liam is 8 now, bright, funny, endlessly curious. He loves dinosaurs and can spend hours building elaborate cities out of Lego bricks. I've always admired how resilient he is, how he's managed to find light after so much darkness. But even his strength has its limits, and I learned that painfully when he started at his new school that we had just moved to a different district because of my job. I thought a new start would be good for both of us, but I didn't expect how cruel children could be to someone who looked different. At first, it was just whispers and stares, classmates avoiding sitting next to him during lunch, kids whispering as he passed by. But soon, one boy, Noah Parker, took things further. He started calling Liam names, making fun of his arms, telling others that his scars were gross and contagious. One evening, as I helped Liam with his math homework, he looked up at me with those wide, serious eyes and asked, "Dad, am I a monster?" The words hit me like a physical blow. My heart stopped. "Of course not," I said, kneeling beside him. "You're brave, kind, and stronger than anyone I know. Those scars aren't something to hide. They're proof that you survived." But he shook his head, whispering that Noah said his mom died because monsters couldn't have normal families. That I felt anger boiling inside me, a kind of protective rage only a parent can know. I tried working with the school first, spoke with his teacher, Mrs. Ramirez, who was sympathetic but overworked. The principal, Dr. Evans, gave me long speeches about restorative practices and peer mediation, but nothing changed. Weeks passed, and the bullying got worse. Liam began to dread school. The nightmares returned. The final straw came when he came home one afternoon, clutching the torn remains of his favorite t-shirt, tears streaming down his face. Noah had ripped it at recess, laughing that monsters don't deserve nice things. That night, after putting Liam to bed, I sat in the dark living room, fists clenched, heart pounding. Enough was enough. The school wasn't protecting my son, so I would. I found the Parkers' address in the school directory and drove there early Saturday morning. Their house was modest, a bit run down, with peeling paint and an old truck in the driveway. I knocked, already rehearsing what I would say, how I'd demand they teach their son empathy, respect, decency. When the door opened, a man in his early 40s stood before me. He was tall, tired-looking, with faint scars on his hands and arms. "Can I help you?" he asked. "Are you Noah Parker's father?" "Yes. I'm David Parker. And you are?" "Mark Turner. My son Liam is in Noah's class." I expected defensiveness or anger, maybe even denial. But instead, David's expression softened with weary recognition. "Ah," he said quietly. "I think I know why you're here. Please, come in." I hesitated, then stepped inside. The house was tidy but sparse, decorated with the practicality of someone who had learned to live without luxury. Family photos lined the mantel, all of them just David and Noah. "No mother. I'm not here for small talk," I said firmly. "Your son has been tormenting mine for weeks. He's made his life miserable, and the school hasn't done a damn thing." David's shoulders slumped. "I know," he said softly. "I've been trying to help Noah, but he's angry. His mother left 2 years ago. He hasn't forgiven me." "That's no excuse," I snapped. "He calls my son a monster because of his scars, says that's why his mother died." David's face went pale. "He said that?" "Yes. Do you even realize what that does to an 8-year-old? He looked down, his voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. The teacher mentioned he was being unkind, but not like this." Then, almost hesitantly, he asked, "You said your son has scars. What kind?" "Burn scars," I replied. "From a fire when he was 3. David froze. "A fire?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Where?" "An apartment building on Grant Street. 5 years ago." He sank into a chair, his hands shaking. "Oh my God," he whispered. "I know those scars." I frowned, confused. "What are you talking about?" He looked up, eyes glassy with tears. "Mark, what was your wife's name?" "Grace." "Grace Turner." David let out a shuddering breath. "I was there," he said. "I was the firefighter who pulled your son out of that burning building." The room seemed to tilt. I could barely process his words. That's impossible, I muttered. The firefighter who saved Liam was named Parker. My full name is David Parker, he said quietly. I never forgot that night. I stared at him, the truth sinking in. This man, the father of my son's bully, had once risked his life to save Liam's. I remembered the fire chief telling me the rescuer had been injured when the ceiling collapsed. You were hurt that night, I said slowly. David nodded, showing the scars on his arms. Second-degree burns. Crushed shoulder. 3 broken ribs. But that wasn't the worst part. What was? The worst part was that I could only make one trip up those stairs. I had to choose, your son or your wife. I couldn't save them both. Tears filled my eyes. For 5 years I'd imagined that firefighter, wondering if he'd blamed himself. Now I knew. You saved my son, I said softly. But I couldn't save your wife, he replied, his voice breaking. I've carried that guilt every day since. I shook my head. You didn't make a choice. You did what you had to. Grace was already unconscious when you arrived. The chief told me later she wouldn't have survived. But you gave my son a chance at life. You gave me my son. David looked at me in disbelief. You don't blame me? Blame you? David, I've spent years grateful to you. I never thought I'd get the chance to thank you in person. We sat in silence, both overwhelmed by the strange twist of fate that had brought us together. Then David told me more. After the fire, his injuries and trauma ended his career. He'd struggled with depression, even drinking for a while. His wife couldn't handle it and left. Noah had grown angry, confused, and that pain had turned into cruelty toward others, including my son. David's eyes filled with shame. I didn't realize how much hurt he was carrying or how he was passing it on. I'm sorry. For him. For everything. I placed a hand on his shoulder. You've got nothing to apologize for. You're a hero, David. But maybe it's time Noah learns what real bravery looks like. He nodded slowly. You're right. He needs to understand. David called Noah downstairs. The boy shuffled in, defensive, expecting punishment. Noah, David began. This is Mr. Turner, Liam's father. Noah looked away. I didn't do anything, he muttered. Sit down, David said gently. For the next hour, David told his son the story of that night. The fire, the rescue, the impossible choice. Noah listened in silence, eyes wide, realizing the boy he'd mocked had once been carried out of flames by his own father. When David said, that little boy was Liam, Noah's face went white. He started to cry. Not angry tears, but genuine, gut-deep remorse. I didn't know, he whispered. I'm sorry. David pulled him close. We don't get to be cruel just because we don't understand someone's story. A few days later, at school, Noah approached Liam. I walked beside my son as he clutched my hand nervously. When Noah stopped us, I could feel Liam tense. But instead of insults, Noah said quietly, I'm sorry. My dad told me what happened. You're not a monster. You're a hero. He said you were the bravest person he's ever met. Liam blinked in confusion. Your dad? David stepped forward and smiled softly. I'm the firefighter who saved you that night, Liam. I've thought about you every day since. Liam's eyes widened. I remember someone holding me and saying I'd be okay. Was that you? David nodded, tears in his eyes. That was me. Noah looked at Liam, voice trembling. Can you forgive me? Maybe be my friend. Liam hesitated, then smiled faintly. My dad says forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. He held out his hand. Okay, but you have to promise not to be mean to anyone else. I promise, Noah said. From that day forward, everything changed. Noah and Liam became close friends. At school, Noah stood up for Liam whenever someone made a cruel comment, explaining that the scars were marks of survival, not shame. The boys spent hours playing with Legos, laughing, rebuilding their trust in themselves. David and I formed an unexpected friendship too. He started therapy and attended support groups for trauma recovery. I helped him find work as a fire safety instructor. He helped me open up, teaching me that letting others in wasn't weakness, it was healing. Months passed. David stayed sober. Noah thrived. Liam began to see his scars differently, not as reminders of pain, but symbols of courage. One evening, as we watched our sons playing in the yard, David said quietly, I spent years thinking I failed that day, that I didn't save enough. But now I see saving Liam wasn't about that one moment. It was about what came after, the ripple effect. Look at Noah. He's learning kindness because of your son. And you helped me believe in purpose again. I watched Liam laughing under the fading sunlight, and I realized David was right. The scars that once brought pain had become bridges, connecting our families through shared loss and redemption. Sometimes I still think about that fire, about the choices and the what-ifs. But now I know, the worst day of our lives gave birth to something extraordinary. A friendship, healing, forgiveness. Proof that even from the deepest pain, something beautiful can grow. That Liam's scars will always tell a story, not of tragedy, but of strength. And when I look at them now, I don't see fire. I see survival, love, and the unbreakable bond between two fathers and two boys, forever connected by courage and second chances.